there, and welcome back to another video from English Solutions for Business and Life, your favorite English school. Now, today we have Unit 1 for you, the pre-intermediate student, and don't forget that we're working on our global English book. This time around, we're going to be covering the vocabulary for the unit. Let's begin. And well, today we'll talk about the following. We'll be talking about 4 items. We'll try to browse through them real quick. The first one is describing people. I'm going to go over some adjectives to describe a person's personality and looks. Talking about looks, we also are going to talk about the expression look and look like. Very similar, used in different ways. Sorry. The next one, people we know, people that we have in our lives. Some of them are friendly, some of them may or may not, etc. And different. We will talk about different degrees of, intimacy. I can call it that. And the last one, expressions with touch. There are some expressions we used, or we're going to use, using the word touch. Alright, so let's begin. Describing people. We have only 6. We have 1 and their contrary. Of course, there are more. I tried to use some of the ones that you probably either don't know or don't use very often. Because, the tall, short, pretty, ugly. Those, we learned those in school. Well, we think we learned them, but sometimes we don't even do that. Yeah, let's correct that. I didn't want to use I didn't want to use the same we always use. All right, so I expect you to repeat after me. Please repeat: slim, 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 overweight, overweight, overweight. So the difference between slim and overweight, don't forget that they are opposite. Slim is a thin person, a person who does exercise, a person who has a good metabolism. And an overweight person is someone who doesn't do exercise, maybe. The person who doesn't eat very well and has some extra kilograms on them. Maybe a few, or a lot. It doesn't actually tell you, but you have to be more specific. The next one is outgoing, outgoing, and its opposite is introverted, introverted. Now, outgoing would be a very confident person, friendly, very sociable, whereas introverted would be shy, maybe not sociable at all, or very little sociable, someone who doesn't speak much in reunions or parties. The next one would be nice, nice. And its opposite, well, somehow its opposite would be obnoxious, obnoxious. Alright, now the difference between nice and obnoxious is a nice person is someone who is agreeable, someone who is good to see. You feel comfortable with that person. It's really easy to talk to or have a conversation with. Whereas obnoxious is someone who you probably do not like, someone difficult to talk to, as with probably a bad attitude or an aggressive attitude, etc., etc. Let's have some examples here. Number 1, he used to be the slimmest of the class, but now he's overweight. Yeah, it never happened to you when you have those reunions from school after 10 years, and those guys who were slim, very fit, now they're overweight. Or the other way around, they were the chubby guy in the classroom, and now they're slim or fit. The next one, I consider myself an outgoing person. I normally talk to people, and it's easy for me to make friends. Okay, so this person seems confident. This person talks, and this person also makes friends with no difficulty. So yeah, this is probably a nice guy, or also an outgoing person, somebody who is confident in the socially speaking, confident. Okay, so now the next item would be the expression look and look like. So whenever we use the expression look, we're going to use an adjective after it. And whenever we use look like, we have two ways we can use look like. We can ask for someone's appearance, or we can provide our opinion about a situation, our perception of the situation. I'm going to give you an example of this right now. Now, look. Examples, she looks so pretty with that dress. Okay, so we have the expression looks and we have a adjective. So pretty. Now in the second one, we have he looks friendly. Let's go ask him. Okay, so now we have looks here, the expression we're talking about, and we have friendly, our adjective. In the third one, we have they look normal to me. Why are they so expensive? Okay, now we have look, and we have our adjective, which is normal, and we have a little extra information to give us a context on that situation. Now, look like. What does she look like? That's a question. So remember, we can ask for somebody's appearance, and the answer is she's tall and pretty. Now notice that in the question I use look like, but in the answer I use the verb to be. So that's the way it is. In the question, whenever you ask with look like, your answer will always be the verb to be. And in this case, she is tall and pretty. Now the next one and final, it looks like you had a bad day. Now we have the expression looks like, but we're not talking about somebody's appearance. We're talking about the perception we have about the situation. And that perception is that you had a bad day. Maybe the person looks angry, maybe the person looks depressed, maybe the person has a face of being defeated or not happy at all. Let's move on to the next item. People we know. That's the next item. I have these people that you are surrounded by at work or at home or in your general life. So let's begin. The first one is coworker. Coworker. And a coworker is a person you work with, a person that has the same status that you do. Maybe the person in the next office. If it's a teacher, another teacher would be your coworker. Yes. Now the next one is neighbor. Neighbor. Your neighbors are all the people that live around your house. Yeah, the guy next to the left, to the right, and in front of your house. Those are your neighbors. But pretty much everybody who lives in the same neighborhood, that's what it's called, neighborhood, the same area, are neighbors. The next one is one that we don't one we use a lot, but we almost never remember, and that is acquaintance. Acquaintance. Takes a little to pronounce, but an acquaintance is not your friend, but it's not somebody you don't know at all. Not a friend, not a stranger. It is a person that you know, that you probably talk to, but it hasn't reached the status of a friend. For example, you ask your friend to have a beer with you, but you don't ask an acquaintance to have a beer with you unless you try to make it a friend. Yes, somebody you sometimes talk, maybe small talk, etc., etc. The next one would be spouse. Spouse. Your spouse is either your wife or your husband. Oh, husband. Yes, that is the person you married and the person you live with. So it can be for for a woman or for a man. So it has no gender. And the last one would be relative. Relative. And your relative is somebody you are related to by blood. For example, it can be an uncle. Hold on. It can be an uncle. It can be an aunt. It can be a cousin. Everybody who is blood related to you is a relative, part of your family. Okay, let's move on to the next one. We have some examples with these. For example, we visited a couple of relatives during our stay. So let's say we went to another state here in Mexico, or we went to the United States, and we during our visit or trip, we decided to visit these people. The next one, the neighbor won't stop playing his music out loud at 12 every day. So this person, their neighbor, the person who lives next to us or in front of us, keeps playing the music very loud at 12 every day. That seems like it's gonna be a problem. Now, the third one, you don't ask an acquaintance to lend you money. Yes, this is just like a recommendation. An acquaintance, somebody you know, but it's not your friend. Probably would not be a good idea to ask for money. Unless it is because you don't have money at the moment and you will pay it right away. I mean, later in the day or right the next day. But that's not a good idea to do. I mean, probably you will get a no for an answer if it's an acquaintance. All right, now the next one, we have the expression touch. Now we have the words, the expressions keep in touch, get back in touch, and to be out of touch. Don't forget that the pronunciation is like a it doesn't help. Like how can I explain? Because normally when we pronounce this, not always, and maybe I'm not talking specifically about you, dear listener. We tend to say touch, and that is not correct. Let's imagine that we don't have this, and we have a I will go with O. I don't know that it's not exactly accurate, but it's the closest touch. So the sounds would be like in I don't like this. Let me erase that so it doesn't look ugly. Yeah, so we have one more time. We have keep in touch, get back in touch, and be out of touch. Let's give some examples with those. Number one, we always try to stay in touch. We text every now and then. So stay in touch. Oh, made a mistake there. Stay in touch means to continue with having contact with that person through text, through phone, through email, etc., etc. So you don't lose touch, you stay in touch. Now the second one, it took 3 months until we got back in touch. So in this case, we got back in touch. So this means that these two people, I and the other person, we lost communication for 3 months. Yes, and after those 3 months, we got it back. We started texting again. Maybe received a phone call. Maybe received a Facebook request, etc. Now the next one, we have been out of touch for over a year. This is very similar to the previous one, but this time that the contact has not come back. So out of touch means no contact, no email, no text, no nothing. Pretty much what you do with your ex-girlfriend when you break up. Now, one tip before we go, use your expressions the next time you have a chance. I know it sounds difficult, it sounds probably, you would probably not remember, but whenever you have the chance, whenever you have to write a text or express yourself in English, in the English language, try to use your expressions. They really help. You will not learn them by listening to a video like this or watching a video like this. You will learn them by practicing them in your everyday activities. All right? So that'll be it for today. Thank you very much for watching. This is Emmanuel Cruz, and I'm really happy to help you out on your English grammar and vocabulary. Have a nice day. Bye bye.